Glorious 2D indeed. Wow. Joining us now, Leigh Scott. Leigh, that looks like a kick-ass movie.
Thanks, man. It's a lot of fun.
Talk to me about this. First of all, how did you get involved with this? Was this your idea, or did somebody come to you?
No, it was all my idea. I had it for a while, and I met up with some guys up in Connecticut. Actually, I was down in Louisiana making film, and I met some guys from Connecticut, specifically this guy Chris Campbell, who's a big fantasy film fan, and I kind of pitched him on the idea, and he said, "That sounds great. Let's get the money together and let's do this." So I moved my whole crew from Louisiana up to Connecticut, and we made the movie.
And when you say get the money together, I mean this thing does not look cheap. I mean, is this pretty much the biggest budget film you've ever worked on?
Yeah, for me, I mean, as a director, for sure, it's the biggest. Still not as much as it looks like it cost, but definitely bigger than the stuff I've done before.
Well, the important thing is that it looks expensive, I think, these days, and it's certainly. I mean, not just expensive, but it looks really well done. Can you? I'm in a weird position here because I am so now excited about this movie that I don't want you to spoil it for me. But can you sort of walk the audience through the basics of this plot?
Well, basically, it takes the Oz characters and the Oz story more from the books than actually from the old movies, and it transports it into the modern day. So Dorothy Gale is a children's book writer who lives in Manhattan, and she writes books about a little girl named Dorothy in Oz, and she comes to realize that, in fact, it's not just her imagination, but they're actually repressed childhood memories, and it was all a real experience. And to make matters worse, the characters from Oz are all around her in her personal life, including the Wicked Witch of the West, who has some old scores to settle with her. So it's sort of the reverse of the old 30s movie where, the kind of farmhands become the characters in Oz. It's backwards, where the people in her life actually turn out to be those people from Oz.
Right, and well, you saw. I mean, the one little hint of that in the trailer was the sort of portly character there, who's sort of looks like works with Dorothy, then suddenly starts to roar and transform into the Cowardly Lion. That was very
Exactly.
but that's a great giveaway in the trailer to just sort of give you a hint of what's to come. And boy, now who plays the Wicked Witch of the West? Because she looks awesome.
Yeah, her name's Eliza Swenson, and she actually she is my partner on all these films, and she also composed the score, which is amazing.
Wow,
And
wow.
she helped work on the script as well. So she's a multi-talented little worker bee.
Oh my God, like an Orson Welles here. That's really amazing, and of course to have Christopher Lloyd. I mean, that's inspired casting as the Wizard. How fun was he to work with?
It was awesome. I mean, that was one of the first things where we're just started. The script was done, and we just started casting, and the casting guy was like, "Who do you want for the Wizard?" And I said, "Christopher Lloyd." And he said, "Oh yeah, of course." Like, it was just a done deal. We didn't even. Usually on a casting list, you kind of have like your first choice, your second choice, your third choice, and on the Wizard, it was just like Christopher Lloyd, whatever it takes, let's make this happen.
Yeah.
And he read the script, and he doesn't work that often. He's getting up there in the years. He's been doing a lot more in the last couple of years, but he doesn't readily jump into stuff, especially smaller stuff. But he called back within a day and said he'd really like the script and
Wow.
thought it'd be a fun thing to do. And he came up to Connecticut, and he was just awesome to work with because he's so not like his characters in real life. He's very subdued and super mellow. He's actually a little closer to Jim from Taxi than he is Doc Brown. But yet, when the cameras are on and he's on set, man, he brings it. He just is completely alive and just a huge live wire.
Oh, I bet. And again, I mean, I'm just so thrilled for you, Leigh Scott. Again, we're speaking with Leigh Scott and his brand new film, Dorothy and the Witches of Oz. Is it now released officially, or is it coming?
Well, no, we're doing a crazy thing actually as part of my master plan to re-engineer Hollywood. We went right to the theater chains directly. We didn't go through a distributor, and we approached AMC and Rave and Harkins and all the big Landmark, all the big theater chains, and said we want to do this movie, and we're not going to have a distributor. We're not going to have a huge marketing budget, but we actually want to open the film everywhere but LA, New York, Chicago. We want to avoid the typical indie release platform and actually go right to middle America and the real audience that this movie is aimed at. And every city we go to, we're going to bring cast, and we're going to do local media, and we're really going to push the hell out of it. So the theater chains, remarkably, which is something they never do, they actually signed on and said, okay, well, we'll start giving you guys some screens. So the first city was Phoenix last week, and then this week we're actually in Louisville, Kentucky, and in Kansas City. And we're going to keep going from there, like kind of like a touring rock band until it picks up enough traction where we can open it, kind of wider.
All right, hold on a second, Leigh Scott. Are you telling me that my redneck producer, Meredith Take, over there in Oklahoma is going to have a chance to see this film before Cosmopolitan Boy here in L.A. gets to see it?
That is the plan. In fact, we were talking to a big chain that does just L.A. and New York about it, and they were kind of miffed/shocked when I said, well, L.A. and New York will be last no matter what. I think we've got Chicago right now, we've got Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Georgia, they're all Atlanta, they're all interested in taking it as well, so we're going to go there first, and then we'll see about getting to LA and New York, because I just feel that the industry is so broken that it doesn't make any sense to kind of go through the typical channels that everybody does, and everybody always goes, well, we open in LA and New York, we get reviews, and then we'll go to the rest of the country. But I mean, we're selling out. We sold out in Phoenix, screens with very little marketing other than us just kind of walking around, going to schools, appearing on local TV, and we're selling out the theaters.
Well, that's
so it makes a lot more sense to me to do that. And I think it's a novel. The deal we have with the theaters is better for them too in a lot of ways. So it's a novel way to do it, and hopefully it catches on. Because I think it'd be great if people. It's funny, people in Kentucky here are like, wow, it's great that we never get the small films. They'll see stuff about movies that are only playing in LA and New York and never comes to Louisville. But here it's the opposite, where it's only in Louisville. So it's kind of exciting.
So is there a way for people to lobby for it to come to their town? I mean, if people are listening to this right now and they want their city to be on the map for the Dorothy and the Witches of Oz, what can they do?
Well, we have a Facebook page, which is Facebook Dorothy and the Witches of Oz. We've been posting all the media we've been doing and the reviews on there. And then also, if you sign up, fans can kind of write in. And we've got a big contingency from Utah and Idaho right now that are lobbying pretty hard. So I told our guy who's been doing all of our bookings, I said, we got to look at Utah and Idaho. Looks like we got a built-in base there. So let's start making some calls.
Oh, wow, that is great. And of course, Leigh Scott, we know about this movie because we saw your post at Big Hollywood today. It's important for everybody to know that you have a byline at Big Hollywood. You write there a lot about the industry and about what's wrong with it, and a lot of it has to do with the messages and the attitudes that permeate the films. And I got to tell you, when I think of reimagining the Wizard of Oz stories, of course, I come from the theater world. I think of Wicked, and I have a lot of respect for Wicked, but I hated the fact. One of the things I really hated about it was, in the middle of this play where I'm transported to Oz and all of this, all of the magical fantasy that they've created for me, they start making cracks about George the Bush presidency. In the middle of it, and it's like, oh, come on! Why can't the liberals just let me enjoy this without, slamming President Bush? Please tell me that you don't have any of that in this movie.
No, I mean, we at Big Hollywood, we call it the sucker punch. And it's funny because I had a couple of writer friends in LA who were kind of helping me and giving me notes. And one of the characters in the movie is this character named Princess Langwidere, who's from the books. And she basically is a witch who can change her head. So she pulls her head off and has like 30 different heads that she can choose from every day. So in the film, we've got 4 or 5 actresses that actually play the character in different, just with a different head on kind of thing. And so my writer friend in LA, who's like he's medium to leftish kind of guy, but he was like, oh, it'd be so funny if one of the heads when she goes to pick him out is Sarah Palin's. And I was like, no, that's not funny, dude. I'm like, it's just not. I'm like, because if for me, when I think of a witch, it would be a Nancy Pelosi head. And I'm like, and you know what? This is a movie for kids and for families, and the last thing that we need is something like that. I mean, it's got to be timeless, and it's got to appeal to everybody, because I think Hollywood really misses out on the fact that, you pick up on that, and you and I pick up on stuff like that, and we're a huge part of the audience. And I'll tell you right now, sitting in these packed theaters with these audiences in Middle America, it's like those guys pick up on it. And it's no surprise that, numbers are dropping and people are tired of going to the movies when they see stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we absolutely nothing like that at all. I mean, good guys are good, bad guys are bad. There's no, sucker punches and nothing goofy like that at all.
Good to know. And listen, I know my kids are going to love this thing. I cannot wait to take my kids to it when it finally makes it to L.A. Lee Scott, and my girls, of course, are going to love it. I've got a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old girl, and this seems like it's really right up their alley. But my 7-year-old boy is going to go nuts because, to me, see, I'm still a little boy at heart when it comes to movies like this. And when I heard you were doing this, and I heard what it was going to be like, the first thing that popped to mind was he better get the flying monkeys right. And those flying monkeys, they kick ass. I love how they look.
Yeah, we're really proud of those. I mean, we decided to. There's been a couple, different Oz-related things, and the flying monkeys are so, crucial. And Sci-Fi Channel a couple years ago did the Kid Man thing, and they had 3D computer-generated monkeys. And I said, well, people are so afraid of the old one. The old movie still freaks people out. Like, I still watch those monkeys and get a little queasy.
Yeah.
I'm like, so why don't we go, guys in suits with really cool makeup? And there's actually a joke in the movie about Planet of the Apes because they kind of look like, the Planet of the Apes monkeys, and someone makes a reference to that at one point. So the makeup artists and the CG guys all got together, and they said, well, let's do the monkeys 100% real stunt guys, real actors in suits, and then the wings will do with computer graphics. And then in some of the wider shots, where there's like a bunch of them zooming around, they're all 3D. But when the monkeys are running around, it's real guys. And we actually got really good actors, too, inside the suit, which is not as easy as it sounds to kind of be, a creature and then portray that through all that makeup, because it's a ton of makeup and it's a huge bodysuit, and it took them probably 2-3 hours per guy to get into those outfits every day. Right. So they did a really nice job with it, though.
When you do the sequel, can I please get a cameo as a flying monkey, please? I just want a moment to be able to, just one day on the set as a flying monkey.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Absolutely. All right, Lee. All right. Well, this is. Oh, I wanted to ask you, what was it like? Did you have to deal with the Frank Baum estate and all of that to get the rights to the characters and all that? Was that messy, or how did that go?
No, I mean the actual books are all in the public domain now. So the only thing we had to really navigate was anything from the 1939 movie, stuff that's in that movie that people expect that's not in the books. And there's a bunch of little details that you'll find out when you go into it with the lawyers. Like in the 1939 film, she had the ruby slippers because they were doing the whole Technicolor thing. But in the book, they're the silver slippers.
Right.
So if you buy the ruby slippers, Warner Bros. Will come after you. And the other neat thing we did is, as part of the score, and you can hear it in the trailer, we licensed Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So that was
that's great.
That was an expensive-y kind of legally lawyer thing we actually had to do.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, listen, that's unfortunately the world we live in, but I'm glad that you did it because there's some things you have to have in there, and I can't wait to see it. I got to tell you. So everyone, you can follow it on Facebook, and do you have a Twitter account as well, or are you doing the whole social media thing?
Yeah, it's at OzMovie2012.
OzMovie 2012, and this is great. And listen, they're supposed to make a film of Wicked, which is due out in 2014. So I love that you're getting the jump on that. It's very cool, and I'm thrilled for you. So congratulations, Leigh Scott.
Well, thank you so much, and thanks for letting me talk to the folks out there and get the word out. I appreciate it.
Anytime, keep in touch. Let us know what happens with this thing. We want to know how it goes from city to city.
Absolutely, man.
All right, thank you. That's Leigh Scott, and the film is Dorothy and the Wizards of Oz, or the Witches of Oz, excuse me. And God, I'm thrilled. That trailer rocks. You can check it out. There's a link to the trailer over at Big Hollywood, so check it out. I'm Larry O'Connor. We're at Breitbart TV. We'll be right back.